back once again. Yeah, it's Softmax Academy, your instructor Williams. Um, Today we're going to be talking about variables and typing mismatch. What is a variable? Variable is a memory location where you store something. Um, Variable can be also be classified as an entity that accepts what values. And what are the values? The values are is what is data type. Let me convince you. Simply means remember when we were in secondary school, or you're in primary school, or when you do maths, we said our teacher or instructor said in x is equals to 1. X in that thing is called variable. Why 1 that you are assigning to it is called the value, or you call it what, the data type of what, x variable. We have series of many ways of declaring variable in Qbasic, but first and foremost you have to look at uh, the old way of declaring variables. Uh, the old way of declaring variable in Qbasic. Yeah. So I might the screen is somehow. So, but I hope you see it. We have ways of declaring variable in Qbasic. This is the old way of declaring variable. The dollar sign stands for string. The percentage sign stands for integer, and the and sign stand for long, and your exclamation stand for single. Now don't let me confuse you. String, when we say string, we're talking about the data type of what, the variables. The data type of the variable. Take for instance, I said x is equals to 1. That falls to integer. That is, 1 is a number. So when you declare a number in a variable and you want to assign value in Qbasic, you have to put in or your percentage sign. Now string data type, for you to declare, for instance, I'll just say x dollar sign equals, then you have to quote it because it's a string. String is a set of characters like a, b, c, 1, 2, 3 that are in quotes. We are going to show you I'm going to show you example on how it's done. While and long and single are other what data types of what, variables. That those data types that have what, large values, values, yeah, that has decimal places, that is in decimal, that we are computing large amount of numbers. That's what we use that for. If we move forward, uh, yes, we're talking about data type. Now data type, let's look at variables. Beside variables holds what, the memory location. We assign data types to it. Data can be changed through the program and all those things you see on your screen. Now what we'll be saying here, we can change the value of our variables during when we're writing the code in our source program. What we mean there is, when we say x is equals to 1, at the later on we could say x is equals to 2. Remember, if you do a simultaneous equation, you can be computing x, and later at when you're writing your solving the problem, you can later say x equals to 3 during the calculation. Likewise here, you see, more of maths in computing, you learn more of maths. You just kind of, let me just clarify computing as an applied maths. You are bringing the realization of what you've done in mass to what computerization. uh, so let's move forward on what we are doing today. This is the data type. I told you string is a set of characters, integers. Now the values that you can compute for integer in Qbasic 1.1 is for minus, that's what you see on your screen, and for long is, I told you, large amount value, from your negative value to your positive value. Now for single, you can see computing large amount, I told you, in decimal places. We also have another data type called double. So that's what we have in there. So let's go straight. The Qbase 64 can compute large values for integers, and at default, if you, when we'll be talking about C language later, you cannot determine the value of your integer. It's machine dependent. That's what C language taught us. But for Qbasic, here is the value that you can compute for your integer. So if for more information, you can go to this URL that is under it, that qbase64.net. You get more information about your data type. Let's go to what we have today. So let's start by declaring our variables. Let's start with the old method of declaring our variables. So I would like to write num1 equals, see, 2 equals, sorry, trait 1 plus num2. Then we run our program. Yeah, we have to wait for it to compile the program. 0. Yeah, we are having problem. We are having error here. Now, if you look at it very well, so let's go back to changing this. There is an error. Let's take it to this. So let's see. For giving us an error, just look at it. We are having issue here. What's wrong with my screen? Okay, yeah. Something is wrong. Oh, I'm making use of Qbasic 64. I'm very sorry for that. There is a new method whereby we declare our variables in Qbasic 64. This for you can run this in Qbase 1.1. For this Qbase 64, we have to use the method. I'm very sorry. You have to use the method Qbase 64. That's why it's rejecting our. If you use a Qbase 1.1, your program will run fine. In the next lesson, we will solve the problem that we are facing. Thanks for listening once again. I'll meet you in the next lesson.